वेलकम टू एशियन पल्स टीवी। जी हाँ दोस्तों, आप एशियन पल्स टीवी को देख रहे हैं। आज हमारी जो गेस्ट है उसका नाम है रश्मि चंद्रा एंड शी इज़ गोना बी टॉकिंग अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ। मेरा यही फोकस है कि जब अभी स्पेशली दिस टाइम ड्यूरिंग द पेंडेमिक कोविड-19, तो ऐसे ऐसे गेस्ट को मैं स्टूडियो में बुलाऊं जिससे जो लोग आप देख रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, उनको आप कुछ नॉलेज हो। और ऐसे में आपको पता है पेंडेमिक जो है कोविड-19 है, इसमें सभी लोग घर के भीतर अभी बंद हुए हैं। इट्स अ फेज 3, लिटिल बिट पीपल आर गेटिंग आउट, बट आई थिंक एट द सेम टाइम इज़ वेरी वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट कि जो हम जैसे अपने बॉडी को टेक किया करते हैं, इसी तरह हमारा जो मेंटल हेल्थ है उसको भी इक्वली उसी तरह से हमें किया करना चाहिए। तो हमारी गेस्ट है रश्मि चंद्रा, जिसको आप देखेंगे। My guest today is Rashmi Chandra, and she is with mental health support worker with Fraser Health, and she is here to talk about mental health. We have been bringing series of mental health people from different walks of life to talk about their experience, and especially time like this during COVID-19. I think the first thing that we have to take care of is our mental health, your anxiety, your depression. How do you cope from day to day when you have lost your job? So, for all that, we have an expert on our set who is going to talk about mental illness or mental health. So, welcome, Reshmi. It's
Thank you for
been
having me.
so long.
I know.
We've been trying to connect with this interview, and it has taken too long, but
Better late than never.
it's all worth it. So anyhow, give a little introduction about yourself.
Well, my name is Rashmi Chandra. I'm 24 years old.
Wow, just 24, eh?
I know. I just finished my bachelor's degree in psychology and counseling at SFU. I work as a mental health support worker, and I'm currently working on a children's book teaching children how to deal with stress and anxiety. Because if you think about it, kids nowadays, you're always taught how to deal with physical pain. Oh, you hurt your leg, you hurt something, you put a band-aid on it, ice it, whatever. But no one teaches you how to deal with your emotions. And people tend to think children, they stress out for nothing. But they don't realize that children are so little and this is all they know. So things that seem nothing to us are big deals to them. So I'm hoping this book can teach children some methods to cope with stress and anxiety and just kind of relieve them a little bit when they're feeling a bit overwhelmed.
And especially during this time.
Oh, yeah.
Because the school was shut down since March.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 more months, and who knows if the school going to open in September or not, or still kids going to be learning online. So that is very, very important to point out. It's not just about us all the time, it's also about the other people, the other members of the family, and especially the vulnerable kids. They don't understand why they are under lockdown. They cannot go to school, they cannot play. So where are you at the book at the moment?
Currently, I have submitted it to the publisher, so hopefully it will be available for sale within the next couple of weeks, maybe like less than a month for sure.
So what is the name?
It's How I Take Care of My Home.
Okay.
Yeah, so then it will be published very soon, and then I'll be advertising it on my website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. I don't know where you get the time to do that, but anyhow, so let's get back and talk about your work. Like you are a mental health support worker with Fraser Health. So who comes to you and how do they get referred to come and talk to you?
Yeah, so I work through Fraserside Community Services Society, and they work with Fraser Health. So these are individuals in a group home
Mm-hmm.
that are ages 21 to 30 that have dealt with psychosis. Now, when we tend to think of mental illness, we only think of depression, we only think of anxiety. And there are so many other mental illnesses out there. And I know people like to think that, oh, they're just like thinking too much, like they're crazy, like they have the evil eye or something like that, right? But there's other valid mental illnesses out there. You can literally see it in a brain scan that there's something different happening in their brain. So these individuals, they have gone through psychosis, and that's when they kind of see things that aren't there, they hear things, or they may believe things that are not necessarily true, and this kind of causes them to panic and freak out a little bit. And then people think because they're freaking out that they're a danger to society, but they're not. So they do end up going to the hospital and they get treatment. And then these individuals, once they're finished getting treatment at the hospital, sometimes they're not, because they're young adults, they don't always want to go home to their parents. So what we provide is a group home for them to stay. And it teaches them life skills, so we teach them how to cook, how to clean, and all that kind of stuff, while learning how to deal with your mental illness, because now that's another layer you have to deal with. So it's not easy. Like, for them, life is totally different. They have to take medication now. Things that they were once able to do, maybe they can't do it anymore. Maybe it will take some time to do it again. But either way, we kind of help support them into a life that they want. So it's not about what we want, it's the life that they want. So we help them achieve their goals, and then when they feel ready, they're ready to move out on their own, then they're welcome to do so.
Excellent, excellent. And also, like when you say that they are on medication, but I think we also have to remember it's not like one medication fit all. There's so many different kind of antidepressants in the market today that it might work all right with me, and then it might not be the same for you. So if that is not working, you have to go through stages to find one that really settles your brain, your thinking, and that's how you try to take the medication, and that's how the system works. Also, medication takes a little bit longer to fit, to be able to work in a body. And when you want to weed off, same thing. It takes a while for you to get off that medication.
There are so many side effects with antidepressants. I have been on, I think, 6, and I finally found one that works for my body. Like, side effects can be so extreme where it can, like, make you feel like you can't breathe,
Yes.
or you have a dry mouth, or, like, it can be super severe or super minor. But what people don't tend to realize is Advil, Tylenol, all those medications have side effects too. So it's not like only antidepressants have side effects.
Yes.
And as much as it's hard to find which medication works for you, it's going to be a journey. It's not going to work right away.
Yeah.
It's worth it, because once you find the combination of medication that works for you, then you're able to function and live like a normal person. And it makes things a lot easier. So I'm a huge advocate for medication only if you really, really need it.
Mm-hmm. You know, some people that have come to me and they said they do not want to take medication. With the medication, you need to do some yoga, some self-care, your diet. I think everything comes in a package to be able to work the medication. And there are so many people, they are on medication, you hardly can tell. They are just normal you and me here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but that is what the chemical imbalance in your brain, that's what stabilizes that. So it's important to be able to go check in with a psychiatrist, make sure that you are on the right track. And people are on medication for whatever time in their life, and that's fine, but you do need to take that, right? It's not like so many people, they just get it, but they don't want to take it. Because
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, for other diseases,
diabetes,
exactly.
cholesterol.
Exactly. You take medication for that because something's not working in your body
Right,
properly.
right.
So that's exactly what antidepressants do. They just help you, give you some chemicals that you are lacking. It does depend on what the scenario is for why your mental illness is there. It could be biological and that medication is needed. It could be stress, could be family problems, school. There could be so many things. But I think medication doesn't work on its own for sure. It's a combination of medication, and you need to make lifestyle changes. You need to eat well. You need to exercise. You need to have a good support circle. It's the combination of everything that helps you get better.
What made you to go into this field? There is a lot of other things you could have done, but why are you so passionate about working with patients who are survivors of mental illness?
Well, I remember back in 2012, I started getting symptoms of depression.
Okay.
So I started getting very tired. I lacked motivation. I was doing so bad in school. I was so sad all the time. I wasn't eating. Um, Lack of energy. And I know this might be a bit too much, and let me know if this is a bit too much, but I did self-harm back in the day.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And people like to judge that, like, why do you want to hurt yourself? You have to understand someone has to be in a lot of pain to do that.
I know. Yeah.
They have to be in a lot of pain. And it's just a way of coping. It's just the same thing as someone drinking,
Yes.
as someone smoking.
Smoking, yeah.
It's the
Or
same.
overeating.
Overeating,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's another addiction. It's just one of those things that you just need to live. You need to breathe.
It just helps you live.
Yeah.
It helps you cope because sometimes the emotions are too much and you don't know how to deal with it. So you turn to these unhealthy behaviors. So I did for quite some time, and I realized that nobody in my life noticed. And that bothered me because something that was so obvious to me, not eating, not sleeping, self-harm, no one at school noticed, no one at home noticed. And I don't blame them because we're not educated about this.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started talking a bit more online about, what I'm going through just with friends and things, I started realizing how common this was and how many people are going through it. So I decided to kind of just share my experience and be open because it helped people feel less alone. I know at one point when I talked to one of my friends, she told me that I saved her life. She wanted to jump off a bridge, sadly, but because I was so open about talking with mental health and she knew that she wasn't alone, it stopped her.
Mm-hmm.
So once I realized the power of words and stories, I knew this can take me somewhere. And I can take my pain and my stress and turn it into something beautiful and motivating because I didn't have anybody to look up to when I was going through this. So I really want to be that type of person for other people, especially in our South Asian community where this is not talked about enough at all.
Right.
And I feel like now slowly we're starting to understand it, which is good. But we still have a long way to go, that's for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it's a very personal story. It takes a lot of courage to be able to share that, but thank you for doing that. And that is where your passion came from, that there is how lack of resources we have available for anybody that is going through anxiety, depression, and mental illness. Did you seek help? Did you were put on a medication? And look at you, you're sitting here with master's degree and trying to help other people.
Yeah.
So it's that motivation that we all have, or a passion that we all have, that we can change ourselves first of all to feel better, and at the same time you can save another life or someone else.
Exactly.
You know, just say, look at me, right? So that is very, very, very good, and thanks for sharing. So the people, like you say, you are working at the group home, you are working with mostly the youth, and once they know that they are stable with the mental health, they can go back in the community. And I know how this group homes, second stage homes work. There's more support. The staff is there to support the people that are there for how long, until they are all better. So I was also going to talk about, do you get referral from outside? Do you do any work apart from what you do within the setting or the situation? If somebody say, I want to talk to a counselor, I don't want to talk to you because you don't have no idea. You don't understand what I'm going through. And rightfully so. Maybe I don't understand what that person who has mental anxiety, depression, and mental illness is going through. That's very right. I do something different, but I'm not an expert in mental illness. So I can make a referral to somebody who can understand. So are you available to talk to people, or that are going through, and especially now I find every 5 out of 3 people are going through depression and anxiety right now because of COVID, losing jobs, stuck in the house. It's either parents, it's children, everybody, and there is no support at all. They are barely living.
Yeah.
They are just have the roof and they are there, living, breathing.
Well, I'm not a counselor yet. I'm working towards becoming a counselor. So the resources I can provide are through my YouTube videos and through my social medias where I talk about mental health a lot and I try to educate my audience and whoever's watching. So that's one resource people can use because it's in the safety of their own home. They're not going to be judged. But I think a really good resource to go to is to go to somebody you trust and talk to them because support is like the biggest thing to getting better. So if you're able to find someone that you're comfortable talking to that knows will understand you, then reach out to them for sure. And we should be reaching out to other people too to make sure they're okay. And yes, of course, seek professionals too. What I did in my experience was I went to my family doctor and then I got them to refer me to a psychiatrist because doctors are not specialized in
Yes.
mental health. My doctor gave me medications and it wasn't working with my body, so he referred me to psychiatrists, and they're specialized in this. So from there, I've seen the psychiatrist, and then you go try to seek a counselor. You can go on psychologytoday.com to seek a counselor. Look through your work. Work usually provides counseling sometimes. Fraser Health provides counseling, about like 10 free sessions. I know if you're in Surrey, there's Surrey Mental Health.
Yes.
And
Canadian Mental Health too in Vancouver and other places.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's always the emergency, like their suicide hotline. They're
yeah,
always there to
correct,
listen. There's lots of resources out there, and it's just, we just have to be more vocal about it for people to know about these resources.
And I'm so glad, like a person as young as you who is here talking to us about your anxiety, mental illness, and all that. And like we cannot just sit here and just say, if you look go good from outside, you pack us together looking beautiful, but you don't know what's going through. So you cannot separate your head or your mental health from the rest of your body, right? I mean, that's the biggest part or the most important part. That's how we function. And if we are not able to function, then there is something wrong. And there is no shame. There is a huge stigma in the community as well. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? That people don't open up and they don't go talk about it because they feel they will be judged or they will think, oh, that person has gone crazy. You know, I mean, like whatever. The names that they give that stay away, they might harm themselves or may be able to harm you. So that's what I hear all the time.
I know, there's a lot of stigma in our community for sure. People, I think we're always taught to keep your problems to yourself.
Yes.
Don't tell anybody. Don't bring shame into the family, or it's the evil eye, or it's like something spiritual. But we're just taught that these people are crazy.
Yeah.
But they are nothing. Not crazy at all. No. They're sick.
Yeah.
That's-
They need help.
They need help, exactly. So what we need to realize is that even people that look like they're doing well, like for example that Bollywood actor that recently just passed away, he looked fine.
Yep.
He had the money, he had the success, and people can't understand why he took his own life. It was a mental illness. And people are good at not showing it.
Yeah.
And it's not that people don't always show it, it's that sometimes we fail to recognize it. You need to learn to recognize when someone is changing. Are their eating habits changing? Is their sleeping habits changing? Are they staying home more? If they're just becoming different people, it's up to us to reach out and be like, are you okay? I've noticed this.
Yeah.
And bringing it up will not make them angry.
No.
If anything, it will make them feel like you're cared for.
Yeah.
So it's really important to reach out to people because I always have a saying, I'd rather have someone here be alive and talk about their problems than not to be here at all, and then we wonder why, what happened.
What happened? You start keep questioning what happened. I'm looking at the clock, and time went so fast. But thank you for taking your time to be able to educate our listeners, our audience, about mental anxiety, about mental illness, and you were prime example of that you have survived, and look at you. So there is no shame in talking about that. With that, thank you so much,
Of
and we
course.
shall get you back again.
Okay, thank you so much.
थैंक यू फॉर वाचिंग एशियन पल्स. आई होप जो हमारी गेस्ट आई थी इससे आपको बहुत ज़्यादा नॉलेज भी मिला होगा, और अगर आप इसके बारे में बात भी करना चाहते हैं यू कैन कॉल अस एनी टाइम. सो कीप वाचिंग एशियन पल्स. ऐसे ऐसे गेस्ट को हम लाते रहेंगे, आपके सामने प्रसिद्ध करते रहेंगे. एंड इन द मीन टाइम अगर आपने मिस कर दिया है ए शो तो यू कैन ऑलवेज वॉच इट ऑन Thursday at 8:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Until next week, goodbye and take good care of yourself.
राह में उनसे मुलाकात हो गई, राह में उनसे मुलाकात हो गई, जिससे डरते थे वही बात हो गई. इश्क के नाम से डर लगता था, दिल के अंजाम से डर लगता था. इश्क के नाम से डर लगता था, दिल के अंजाम से डर लगता था, दिल के अंजाम से डर लगता था. आशिकी वो ही मेरे साथ हो गई, आशिकी वो ही मेरे साथ हो गई, जिससे डरते थे वही बात हो गई.